Hello engineers, hope you are doing good. In this video, we will discuss certain JavaScript interview questions that are mostly asked in interviews. These will be based on scope and closure. So the first question is, what will be the output of the following IFE? So IFE means IIFE, immediately invoked function expression. These functions are immediately invoked. Okay, these are mostly used when we don't have let and const. Only we have var to declare a variable, and var, as we know, that is function scope. It don't have block scope. So to make something block scope, we are using IFE at that time. But now suppose in an interview someone asked you this type of question, that you should have idea about this, right? So that's why I have used this one here. So it will be immediately invoked, no need to call it. Generally, to invoke a function, we are calling that function, right? But here we declare the function and immediately it will be invoked due to this type of writing. Okay, so this is our function. Then see, these are square parentheses, and after that again two parentheses. Okay, now here let count equal 0. It is declared outside a function. So when we are declaring something outside a function, it becomes global scope, right? So now this count has global scope. Global scope means we can assess it within all the functions. Okay, so now within this function, when we are trying to check with the condition whether count is equal 0 or not, then it will return true, because count is still can be assessed from here as it is a global scope variable, right? So now this if count equal 0 will return true. So we will execute this if block now, and within this if block we have two statements, an declaration statement and a console log statement. Again, this declaration statement declares with the same variable name. So is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Why? Because this let is in global scope, not in the same scope. Okay, if within same scope you are trying to use two let with same names, then it will throw you an error. But here it will not, because in this scope we don't have any variable with the name count. Okay, yes, if this is not present, then we can assess its global variable, right? So now this let count equal 1 will create a count variable which is block scope. That means it can be assessed only within this if block. Okay, outside of this if block, its assess is not possible. Okay, it don't have any scope outside of if block. So outside of that block, when we are trying to console log here this count, means we are logging this count. Okay, because here we don't have scope of this second count variable, right? Let us say this one first count and this one second count. Okay, so what will be our output? As here we have a second count which is block scope. So this console log will log this value, means 1, and this console log, as it don't have access to this one, so it will assess this global scope variable and it will print 0. Okay, now let us move to another question. Now this is a closure function. Okay, what is a closure function? A closure actually allows us to assess a outer function scopes variable inside inner function. Okay, so here see, we have a function called outer. You can name it anything. Okay, just for convenience I have written outer because it will be more understandable, right? Now this is our outer function. We created a variable let count equal n. N is the parameter that we are passing to this function. So when I call this function, outer, and within parenthesis I am writing 0. This n is assigned 0. So this count is also 0, right? So we created a variable count which is equal to 0 and its scope is within this outer function. Clear? Now let us come to this one. So we know return statement means this function will return that thing. Here the function is returning another function. Okay, not any variable, not any value, it is returning another function. So now this x will hold this inner function. Okay, when we are writing a variable equal a function, means the function's returned things will be stored in that variable, right? So here the variable is x and the function is outer. So x will hold the things that outer will return, and now here the outer is returning another function, that is inner. So now the x has this inner function, right? When we are calling inner, now remember here outer function already closed. Okay, it returned something, means that function is dead now, right? But still we can access this count due to closure. So when I am trying to check here with if whether count equals 0, it will access this closure. Okay, this count due to closure. So now whether this count equals 0, yes, this count equals 0 due to this one, right? So this condition will be true and it will execute these block of statements. Okay, and here let count equal 1. Already I have discussed this, that let is block scope. So when we are creating a count, means a variable with the same name, it will create without any error, but its scope will be only within this if block. Okay, so now in console.log count, it will log 1, but this count will log 0 because it will access this closure variable. Okay, not this one. Clear? Now let us make some modifications here. Suppose your interviewer said if I pass 5 instead of 0, then what will happen? So in excitement you can say, sir, first will be 1, definitely. Second is 0 because it was 0. Now as it is 5, so second will be 5, right? Most of the students answers like this, but no. Let us calculate it again. So as we are passing 5 here, now the value of count is 5. As value of count is 5, so here this condition will be false. If this condition will be false, then these statements will not execute, right? So now we have only one console log, that is count, and it will return 5 because the value of count is 5 in our closure scope, right? Now let us modify it. Suppose your interviewer say what will happen if I don't pass anything. So now here you see it have not passed anything. Now what will be the value? Okay, so here this x will definitely store this inner function. Okay, but when checking this condition, now what is the value of count? We have not passed anything, so the value of count is now undefined. Okay, so here this function will call only this one because count means undefined. Whether undefined is equal 0? No. So this block of statement will not execute. It will execute only one console log. So our output will be undefined. Okay. If you need more examples on this closure, then please comment below. I will try to upload some more examples so that all your doubts regarding closure will be clear. If you like the video, please like it. Please share it with your friends so it will reach more and more students, those need this type of solutions. Thank you.